With that being said, July was not I almost said June. Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with August / Orilium TBR. So it's a new month, it's a new TBR dip into the basket, and in August we have the autumnal equinox for the Magical Readathon. So as I have done in the past, I will section this video into 2 sections. I'll do my normal TBR picks, and then I'll go through all of the books that I have selected for the prompts / careers that I will be doing for the Magical Readathon. I will, of course, be weekly vlogging the month of August, so I can keep you guys updated if you'd like to check those out with my kind of updated thoughts, and you can see the different prompts, because for what I've got planned for this month, A, there's way too much, and B, there's some very interesting things that are very situational based, but that's kind of the plan for August. So let's take a look at how I did last month. Spoiler, not great. The first prompt was to have an element on the cover, so I did This Vicious Grace by Emily Feed. The next one is a book you think you'll learn from, so I picked Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, but I actually switched to the 3rd volume of Fence. The next one was a Bookshop Instagram bestie pick, so I reached out to my friend Taylor and she picked the Midwinter Mail Order Bride, I think is what it's called, and it's by Katie Wilds. We had a book by your favorite author, which was The Deadly Dreams by KJ Sutton. We then had the lowest rated book on Goodreads, which is Breaking Time by Sasha Alsberg. We had Friends to Lovers, which I originally chose Wolf Song by TJ Klune, but I've switched it to I Hear the Sunspot. This is by Yuki Fumino. We had to read a book blurb by one of your favorite authors, and I did Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. And the last one is a tome or book that's over 450 pages, and I picked The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. So I still have about a week left in the month. I usually film these kind of early, which is why we've done some switching around. So I have finished This Vicious Grace as well as the Mail Order Midwinter, whatever that one's called. That one I finished as well. I am currently in the middle of Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, so I'll definitely finish that one. I haven't, as far as filming this, but by the time that you see this video, I will have done a vlog on it, so I will have finished The Foxglove King. I haven't started this one, but it's manga, so I'll get to it. Same thing with Fence, so I'm not going to touch Breaking Time by Sasha Alsberg or Deadly Dreams, but that's because we're going to see this one again. So, not a great month. I had a couple of personal things come up near the beginning, which kind of derailed a lot of my planning and my reading and where I thought I was going to be doing a lot of my reading. So July wasn't the best of months, but I was still really proud of what I was able to do. I did some random traveling as well during the month of July, so that was less time for me to read. With that being said, no fun rewards or anything for August, which is fine. So let's take a dip into the basket of reads. Pick number 1. Oh, an A to Z book. Alright, first prompt was A to Z book, which means random number generator or random letter generator in this instance. I've already done this, so I'll plop it here so you guys can see it. I went onto a random wheel that I found online. I'm excited about this because this is also a prompt that I'm going to need later for a Magical Readathon, so this is perfect. And as you can see, I came up with C, which was great and stressful all at the same time. But I've decided to go with Cloaked in Shadow. This is by Ben Alderson. It's the first in his Dragori, I believe is how you pronounce it, series. I have the audiobook of this on Audible. I'm very excited about it. I love this author, even though I've literally read one thing, and I own at least, I think I calculated 7 books of his, so we have things to do. But this one takes place, it's a magical, fantastical male-male romance. That's what he does. He does fantasy stories with a male-male romance as the lead romantic element. This one follows our main character Zachary, and he is elven, or he goes to an elven capital and is forced to take part of the king's new legion of shapeshifters, except for he is not a shapeshifter. And he doesn't really know what he is. There's war on the horizon and all that fun stuff, but it's not a super long one. The second one in the series is pretty long, but I really want to get around to this one. I know I feel like I put this book specifically on a previous TBR for Magical Readathon. Maybe I made that up, but C for cloaked. So that's what we're going to go with. And I am very excited to dive back into this author's writing. This is his debut, if I remember correctly. So I'm excited to really see where he got started. Number 2. A cover, a random color generator. The next one is a random color generator, which is also perfect because this is also going to be a prompt that comes back later. I mean, really, the basket was nice to me, so I'll plop it here. I did this one earlier as well, and I got like a sea green kind of look, and I did look at my shelves, but I think the one that I'm going to go with this one is the Assassin's Blade, because some of the colors here kind of match that like sea green vibe. So this is the prequel of sorts to the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. It has 5 short stories in it, and we follow our main character, Selena Sardathian, who is the main character in the Throne of Glass series, from what I remember. And so this is kind of like a prequel. We see her, it involves 5 stories, like I said. And I've been told that I need to start with this one because it'll give you backstory into Selena as a person before you really dive into her story with Throne of Glass. So I know Throne of Glass came out first before these came out, I'm pretty sure. So I'm interested to see what these are about, but they are a bunch of short stories, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to officially start the Sarah J. Maas vibe, but I'm excited that I'm actually starting this one. And I'm excited about this one because I can kind of like read this one in chunks a little bit. Number 3. Read a book with a dark cover. The next one is to read a book with a dark cover. So I'm going to go with Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is the 3rd book in the From Blood and Ash series. I'm trying to catch up so that when the 5th one comes out, which I think is soon, if not already, I don't remember when it comes out, I can be ready for that one. You know, I've got the first 4 now. I picked up the 4th one when I went to New York City. So this is the last special edition that I have from Fairy Loot, but it's the 3rd book in the series. I really enjoyed the 2nd one. I read it not too long ago, so I'm hoping that I'll actually get around to this one because I don't want to wait too long like I've done in the past with this series. There was a pretty big cliffhanger at the end of the last one, just like there was with the first one. So I'm interested to see where we're going to go. I love the story. I love our characters. So I am interested to see what the next step is because I don't really know what happened. Like I know what happened, but I don't know what happened. And I think we're going to get answers in this one. But this story follows our main character, Poppy, which I've talked a lot about this, but it follows our main character, Poppy, who is the maiden in the 1st book, which means that she's going to be given to the gods. She doesn't know what that means. A lot of people around her haven't really told her what that means, but it basically means for her, as far as like her life goes, she can't really be looked upon. She wears like a veil. She wears all white. She can't experience a lot of emotions. She can't be like physically touched, things like that. And kind of the like jumping off point for this story is when she gets a new bodyguard named Hawk. So it's much more than that, but that's kind of what the 1st one follows. And this is the 3rd one, and I'm excited to do it, you know. Hopefully this will be the month. And I didn't wait too long. Maybe I'm doing better. We'll see. Number 4. Ooh, a foiled cover. The next one is a book with a foiled cover, and this one I think is kind of cheating, but not cheating, and I'm going to be doing The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This one, as you can probably tell, doesn't have any foiling on that cover. This is my Fairy Loot edition, but if you take the dust jacket off, there's this foiling all over it, which is beautiful. This one is one that I got a while ago. It came in May 2022, so it's been a hot second, but this one is, I think, the 1st in a series, and the reason it's on here is because it's part of, well, I'm interested in it, but it's also part of Ashley from Frolicsy Fiction's Patreon buddy read that she's doing for both July and August. I think she did both of those together. So I really wanted to get around to this one in July. It didn't happen, and that's fine. So we're going to read it in August. So it's inspired by 1001 Nights a little bit. It weaves a gripping tale of a legendary smuggler, a cowardly prince, and a dangerous quest across the desert to find a magical lamp. So it's definitely giving Aladdin vibes. I don't really know where we're going to go. I believe, like I said, this is the first in a series, and I feel like the second one is coming soon. If it's not out already, I don't actually know as far as like how many are going to be in this series, but this is what I'm choosing. It's got beautiful purple all over it, which is my favorite color, and I'm counting that cover as the foiling. Cheating, maybe, but it's my rules, so that's what I'm saying. Number 5. Read a book you're scared to read. The next one is a book that you're scared to read, and this one is, I'm scared to read it because I don't know enough about it. It's a completely random pick because I needed it for one of my prompts for Magical Readathon. It's called Earth. It's an elemental reverse harem quartet. It's the first one in the series. It's by Helen J. Perry. I found it on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm going to be reading it on my Kindle. It's like a fantastical fantasy romance, but it's a reverse harem, and I've never read a harem book, but I've definitely never read reverse harem before. So I don't know what to expect. That's the thing, is I really don't know what this book's about. I needed Earth in the title, and that's what this one is. And it was a fantasy romance, and I was like, sure, why not? So do I know what we're getting into? No, and that's why I'm putting it in this spot as far as like scared to read, but it's a Kindle Unlimited book, a fantasy romance, so I'm still excited about it. I think it's going to be good, but we shall see. Number 6. Read a shorter book under 300 pages. The next one is to read a book under 300 pages, and the one that I found for this is 74 pages, so that is perfect. It's in this collection, which is the Dark Olympus Short Stories by Kate Robert. It's volume 1, and the very first one in here is Stoneheart. I'll put the actual cover here so you guys can see it, but it's the prequel to the Dark Olympus series. It's like the 0.5 in the series, and it follows like a Medusa retelling. I love Dark Olympus. You guys know this. I've read the first 3 books in this series. There's one more out, and there's a 5th one coming out later this year. So she's put out 2 this year. So I need to get around to those, but this is the prequel that I've been really wanting to get to, and it was included in this series, or this collection of short stories. If I have time, I'll continue reading them, because like basically the first half of this book is Stoneheart, and then the second half is all of these short stories, and I know that there's a couple of them that I have already read. So we'll see, but that's the one I'm choosing for this one is Stoneheart, because it is so short, and short stories plus one that I've been really wanting to get around to, and I just haven't had that push to finally read it. So that's what we're doing. We're finally going to read it. Number 7. Read a nonfiction. The next one is to read a nonfiction. So this one was hard for me because I'm not in a nonfiction mood right now. So I kind of went through my shelves, and I wasn't really sure what I was into and that kind of stuff. So I went to my library app to find an audiobook, and I was really feeling the true crime. So I found this one. It's 6 hours. It's not too long. I can find both the audio and the ebook on my library app, so I'll be able to listen to it that way. It's called Green River Running Red by Anne Rule. It looks kind of old, but it follows a serial killer called, I think, the Green River Killer, and it's just everything that goes into this one. I don't really know this one very well, but for some reason I was feeling the true crime over the historical this month, and with it being a prompt here, I decided to go with this one. I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know how accurate this is going to be, because like I said, it feels like an older story, or at least an older book, but we'll see. We'll see. It feels interesting, and one that I can get invested in as far as like the story of this true crime situation, but it's one that's not gonna like be super dragged out because, like I said, it's only about 6 hours and I listen to it close to 2 times speed. Not quite, but close. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know when I'm gonna read this. It's probably just gonna be a super random one that I fit in, but I have a random true crime, so that's what we're gonna do. And number 8. A random number generator. And the last one is a random number generator. So I do this a couple of different ways, but the one that I've done this time is the random shelf generator. So I went through my shelves and counted how many shelves I've got. I'll put it here. I can't remember what I did. Maybe 32 shelves is what I did. And I ended up doing shelf number 12, which is this one right behind me, which is the first portion of my historical romance section, which was great at first because I saw all of my Monica McCarthy books, but we've kind of slacked off because of me on the buddy read, so I picked something else just in case we don't get around to that one, and I am really excited about that, and that is Bombshell, and this is by Sarah McLean. It's the first in the Hell's Bells series. There are 2 out right now. I don't know if there's any more planned, but that is the first one in this one. I picked this one up a few years ago, and it's a like feminist kind of story. So we follow our main character, Cecily, who is a free woman. She is kind of embracing this reputation. People like don't look at her too hard. It says here, no one looks twice when she lures a gentleman into the dark gardens beyond the ballroom, but no one realizes that these trysts are not what they appear. I think she's maybe like a private investigator of sorts, but it's her and this guy named Caleb who is her brother's best friend. So you've got that kind of situation, and she just ends up getting herself into a lot of dangerous situations, and Caleb has to come help her out. So I'm excited about this one because I feel like Cecily is going to be a very headstrong character, and I'm excited to read about that. So this is what I'm picking up. I found the audiobook from my library, but it's one of those longer, bigger mass market paperbacks, and it's super fun and floppy. So that did not at all play into why I picked it. I just thought those were things that were fun that I just noticed and decided to tell you. But here we go. Historical romance. It's definitely in like I don't know if it's set in like Regency England time period, like where it's set, but that's kind of the vibe we're going for, and I am very excited. So that's it for all of the books that are for my TBR game. So now we'll go into all of the books that I need to read for Magical Readathon. So this is basically, G created an entire world, basically, and what she did is it's a magical school, and there are careers that you choose as far as like what you want to do. You kind of, it's like a D&D style thing where you create your own character. And I have created a little elf that's obsessed with nature. So you have like prompts in the spring and prompts in the fall, and based on the prompts in the spring or things in the fall that you do. There's also, basically we're taking grades now for all these classes, and so each class has 3 prompts. And so it gets confusing, but that's kind of the idea behind it, is like, based on your career, here are the classes you need, and here is the grade you need on that test. So for the past couple of years, I've been doing Master of Elements, and that's only 8 prompts, and that's kind of like priority number 1 for me, is to do those first. I'm not sure which prompts fit which thing right now, but those are the ones that I'm going to focus on first. But then this year I added Wild Form Druid, which is one that just kind of feels like appropriate for my character, and that's 10 prompts. So let's dive in. The first class that I need to take is Animal Studies, and so the first one is Pet Pick. Surprise, I do not own a pet, but G has thought this through and basically made her 2 cats do this. So I'll put it here what I end up doing, but basically you pick 4 books, and then she like throws 4 pieces of paper on the ground, and the cat picks which one. So the 4 books that I'm going to be choosing and kind of telling you like which number they go to is, for number 1, we've got Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm excited about that one. Book 2 is going to be To Swoon and to Spar by Martha Waters. Book 3 is going to be Bombshell by Sarah McLean. And then book 4 is the nonfiction that I picked, which was Green River Running Red. So let me plop here. I've got it pulled up on my computer as well. So I'll show you this here. I think I'm gonna go for Zeus. She did both of her cats, Momo and Zeus, and I think Zeus is the one that I'm gonna go with just because I like Zeus. So here we go. Okay, so Momo's first. So we'll skip to Zeus. Let's see.
Don't eat them. Don't eat them, Zeus.
Number two, perfect. Okay, so that means that I'm going to be reading To Swoon and to Spar by Martha Waters, which is perfect. This is the most recent one in this series. Very excited about it. It is very reminiscent of, I think, the first one in the series. It's kind of a marriage of convenience / outprinting each other, but it's a Regency romance, and I love Martha Waters' writing. I think she's very humorous. So we've got Penvale, who is a character that we have met before. He is the brother of one of our previous main characters, and then he basically wants to buy back his ancestral home, which is being kind of controlled, let's say, by his uncle, who says, sure, you can have it, but you must marry my ward, who's Jane Spencer. So they meet in London. It doesn't go well, but they decide to marry. She really wants the house to herself, so she is scheming to basically convince him to return to London, which I don't think goes too well, but this is the fourth in this series, which is, I think, if I tell you it was Regency Vows, but that's the fourth one. I love it. I don't really know where we're going with this story, but it sounds really good, and that was number 2. So that's the first book on my Magical Readathon TBR. And then the next one for Animal Studies is a debut book. So I decided to go with one that I really want to get my hands on, but I haven't quite yet, but I have the audiobook. And that is Icebreaker, and this is by Hannah Grace. This is a hockey romance, figure skating hockey romance. It looks super, super cute based on the cover, but it's supposed to be super smutty. And I've just heard really good things about it. So it's the first in a series. I know that the second one is going to be coming out soon, but it should not interest me because sports, but I've just heard so many good things about it that I'm interested in it. So this one basically follows our main 2 characters, Anastasia and Nathan, and Anastasia is basically vying for a spot on Team USA, and Nathan is kind of the captain of the Titans for Maple Hills, I think is maybe the school, the private school that they're going to, and he's in charge of the hockey team, and due to a mishap, they both have to share the ice. So it is them fighting, but we have figure skating and hockey, which should not work, but like I said, I've heard so many good things. So this is the one I've chosen because this is the first book by this author, and I am very excited about it. And the last prompt for Animal Studies is read a book in 2 days. So for this one, I'm going to go with the 4th volume of Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith. I love this graphic novel series. This is the most recent installment. I don't think 5 is out yet. And I just, without even meaning to, I always seem to read this during a readathon. So I just kind of decided that I needed to fit this one in sometime. It's beautiful artwork. I love it. It's a Hades and Persephone retelling. Some things came out in the 3rd volume, so I'm interested to see where we're going to go from here. But because it's a graphic novel, I'm pretty sure I can finish it in a day or 2. So that's what I've chosen for this prompt. Then we have the Art of Illusion prompts, which is the first one is to read without touching the floor or ground. So it's kind of like the floor is lava vibes. So I've gone with the 4th volume of Fence by C.S. Bacot. And this one, because I read it on Hoopla and I read it on our iPad, and I'm usually reading this when we're sitting out in the living room and we have a recliner and my feet are not on the ground. So that's kind of why I'm going with this one, because it's a graphic novel that I can read pretty quickly, and I usually am reading it without my feet touching the ground. This is a very interesting prompt. I don't know where she came up with this one, but I think it's kind of cool. But that's what I'm choosing for that one. And then the next one is an audiobook, so I've chosen The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah for this one because I will be listening to the audio. The next one is going to be interesting. This is a title includes a word from the last song that you listened to. So I'm pulling up my Spotify now on my computer. I think the last thing I listened to was, I've been really getting into like random playlists on Spotify, and I've been looking into like mood booster ones. All right, let's see. What does this think that I've listened to recently? Oh, great. So according to this, the last song I listened to was Oh My God from Adele. The heck am I gonna... So I have to use either oh, my, or God in a book title. The heck am I gonna use? Oh no. Okay, I need to do some thinking here. So here's the thing about this. I just went down like the rabbit hole, and I literally can't find anything with oh my or God on it, which I feel like is wrong, but everything I keep finding is things I've already read. So we're just gonna hit the next button and see what happens. What comes after this? The middle. Do I have anything with middle in it? I feel like the is cheating, but I don't have anything with middle in it, so I'm gonna have to do the, which I feel like is, it just feels very like that's in every single book, you know? Here's how we're gonna do this, because I am gonna go with the, but I am gonna make this, I haven't even checked to see if I can find the audiobook of this, but let's hope. I'm gonna go Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, because there is the in there, but it's not the first word. It's included in it. Because I hate that, like, when you think of a title, it's the this, and that feels like cheating, but because this is, the is in the title, this is what I'm gonna do. So for this one, I'm gonna go with Love on the Brain by Ellie Hazelwood. This is a enemies to lovers story. And this is following our main character, B, who was involved with NASA, and she's kind of like in charge of it, but it says that her equipment starts going missing and the staff starts to ignore her because she's a woman in STEM, and so it's her and this guy Levi who she works with. So and they also had like past relationship or something, I don't know, but we're gonna go with this one because of all the reasons I just stated. So a contemporary, very exciting about that. Oh, I said that was part of Illusion. It was not. That one was an astronomy prompt. So just kind of as a heads up. So moving on to restoration. I have to do all three of these. And the first one is Start a Book Before Bed. So this one I'm going to be doing The Inadequate Heir, which is the third book in the Bridge Kingdom series. I have it on Audible. It is by Danielle L. Jensen. I really enjoy this series. I don't know where we're going to go from here, because this is like the first two books followed one couple, and the next two are going to follow another set of another couple, but I don't know what exactly is going to happen with this one, but I just love the first one so much. But in the first one, our main character basically had been like trained as an assassin her whole life, and so she was sent to the Bridge Kingdom as the wife, and it was her and the king. And this one, I think it's her brother, maybe, and somebody else, like another princess maybe from a different country that's in this world. So we're going to do that one, and then to piggyback on that, the second prompt for restoration is to read a book at a different spot each time. So I'll be picking up the fourth book in this series, which is The Endless War. I have both on Audible, like I mentioned, and so I can do this next kind of arc now that both of them are out, and they'll have to wait a while for 5 and 6 to come out. But I'm going to go ahead and do those two kind of back to back. I don't know how I'm going to make sure I read this in a different spot every time, but I'm going to find a way to make that work. And then the last one for this is going to be Random Letter Generator, like I did with the first one. C. We'll be picking Cloaked in Shadow by Van Alderson for that. Then we have all three for the shapeshifting prompt. The first one is to read a book with vampires. So this is I'm not going to tell you why this one counts, but if you've read it, you know. And that's going to be The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So that's going to be my vampiric story. The next one is a random color generator. So just like the last one, I'm going to do sea green. So I'll be doing the Assassin's Blade for this one. And then the last one for this prompt is chair on the cover. So I'll be doing the 5th volume of Spy Family, because there's a chair right there, by Tatsuya Endo. Love this series. It's basically this guy who is undercover. He creates this family with this woman and this kid that he adopts. The kid can see the future. No, the kid's telepathic, so she can read minds. She knows kind of what's going on. The wife is actually an assassin, but the husband, who's the undercover agent, doesn't know that the wife is an assassin, but the kid knows what's going on. And so this is the next step in their story. Very excited about this. This is actually the wife's brother on the cover, and he has some stuff going on about him, but share. And the last class that I will need, or I guess quiz, test, whatever, is Elemental Studies, and I'll be doing all 3 for that one. So the first one is a book with Earth in the title. So like I mentioned earlier, I'll be doing Earth Elemental Reverse Harem Quartet by Ellen J. Perry. This one was the hardest prompt to find anything for. It was ridiculous. The second Elemental Studies prompt is a book that's over 500 pages. So like I said, you're going to see this one again, Deadly Dreams by KJ Sutton, which is just over 500. We are at 506. So I really want to get around to this one. I didn't make time for it last month, and I'm going to do it this month. So that's going to be my over 500. And then the next one is Snake on the Cover. So this one I'm going to do Stoneheart, because if you look at the cover here, it's like Medusa and there are snakes everywhere. Not my cover, just the like original cover. So that was a very fast paced way of telling you that that is my TBR for the month of August / my Orilium TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed. There's a lot of information I just threw at you. I'll leave all of the links I mentioned down below. But if you're participating in the Magical Readathon, please let me know what you're doing. What are your prompts? What is your career? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Tell me all the things that you want to do. There's lots of extra stuff through this as well, but based on how many I have here, I don't think I will be able to get around to the extra stuff. But some of the extra stuff that I wanted to do is not this month specific, so that's exciting. But if you like this video, and I very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links. So check all that out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!